Welcome to the channel. We just crossed 30,000 subscribers, and that's because we gained a few from this man, Alexander Bromley. He made a video about me and reviewing parts of my new program, which was a little unexpected, but appreciated nonetheless. And this video is going to be about that program, going through who it's for, what's in it, any modifications you might want to make, and responding to a couple of comments that he made. So, the program can be found on Boostcamp. This is the desktop version. The best way to get this is on the mobile version in the App Store. This is the best app for programs. You can come on here and pick a ton of popular programs, and it will just tell you what to do session by session, and you can tick it off. So it is really awesome, and I wish I had some of this stuff years ago when I was training, because it makes it a hell of a lot easier. Now, for those who don't know me, I guess you could consider me like a hybrid athlete. I mainly started with tricking, which is all of these flips and twists and stuff, which is really fun, and I still do that now. If you've watched my stuff recently, you'll probably think I'm a power lifter, because that's what I've been doing since lockdown. I thought that was a good opportunity to go and break some powerlifting records. This is a 10 times bodyweight total, which is pretty rare. So a lot of people have picked up my program thinking it's a powerlifting program, which it's not. I've also been very good at calisthenics. I've done MMA, and I just guess I have a very good athletic base that enables me to pick up any sport or endeavor that I want and perform it to a pretty high level. And that's what this program kind of provides. It's just a very good athletic base. Something I want to emphasize about it is that it is not for beginners. It's not a powerlifting program or a weightlifting program or a calisthenics program. This is for people that already do a sport. That's why it's only 3 days a week, because normally you would spend 1 or 2 days doing your sport. So you're actually training 5 times a week or 4 times a week. If that's not you, but you just want a very good athletic base, by all means do the program 3 times a week, but you should probably add a day in the gym and do some other exercises that you feel like you're missing out on, or just get a bit more volume on the ones that are already there. I may add a 4th day at some point if people just want something to follow without thinking for themselves. So let me know if that's the case, and let's get into it. All right, a quick change of scenery because I just went to the gym myself, but let's go. So what do I consider to be athletic? So for me, it means being as strong as possible for your body weight and having complete control over your body. So I want to be stronger at the powerlifting movements, Olympic lifting movements, body weight movements. I want to be more flexible. I want to be able to jump higher, move faster, be stronger, all of that stuff, okay? So those are the things that I'm always trying to improve while I'm training. And that is what this program will allow you to do. So the first step in designing the program was to think about what movements make you the most athletic and give you the most bang for your buck. Best movements for being athletic are the Olympic lifts. However, they are difficult to learn and can take a big time investment and are not suitable for beginners, which is again why this program isn't really suited to beginners. However, we don't have all the Olympic lifts in here, we just have the power clean. If you look at Olympic athletes, high-level sports teams, American football, throwers, lots of different sports, you'll see that they're all training heavy power cleans. And I had first-hand experience of this myself when Clarence Kennedy came to my house. He stayed for a month and he taught me the Olympic lifts. I got pretty strong at them. This is what, 120 clean and jerk. But yeah, that power clean gave me so much power in gymnastics. I was training it all the time, so I was tired. Yet when I was going to gymnastics here, I just was more powerful. And it makes perfect sense, right? If you watch these athletes, like, that's why they're training them, because it gives you that power. So that's the number one exercise, gives our explosivity. You also want to improve your strength metrics. Without a doubt, best bang for your buck, powerlifting movements, squat, bench, and deadlift. However, bench press wide like this doesn't really carry over to much. So I would prefer to do it closer, because that will transfer to handstands, push-ups, pushing something in real life, so on and so on. Deadlifts. If you watch me powerlifting, you'll see that I do sumo deadlifts. However, that's not very good for athleticism. Conventional is much better, and even better than that is trap bar deadlifts. If you look at studies, it has better carryover to sport-specific activities and less injury rate. So now we have 4 big movements: power cleans, squats, bench press, trap bar deadlift. So what are we missing from that? Well, we're missing upper back, arms, and we're missing being strong for our body weight. You need to be able to control your body. So weighted chin-ups and weighted tricep dips are another 2 of the must-have exercises in the program. And now we have 6 big compound movements: power clean, squat, bench press, trap bar deadlift, weighted chin-up, and weighted tricep dip, okay? So those 6 compounds are going to be the headers of each of the sessions. But then athletes also need some other attributes. You need flexibility, you need coordination, you need balance, and you need stamina and conditioning. So the accessories are all aimed at improving those metrics. So you have things like box jumps, pistol squats, and inchworms for your core. Okay, so let's look at the original version of the program. So you would put in your gender, what units you want, kilograms or pounds, and your body weight. So for me, 75 kilograms when I made this program. And I'd put in my max for each of these metrics. And the goal is to improve these metrics. So this would give you a level from beginner to advanced. So for example, on squat here, let's say I could squat 100. That would be a beginner stage. And to get to the next level, I'd need 122.5. So let's say I could squat 130. That would jump up to solid beginner, 150, intermediate, 180. I would be a high level intermediate. 200 would be advanced, and then 220 upwards, very advanced. And then to be elite, you'd need a 245. That would give you elite, and that's the top level. You may wonder where I got these levels from. So behind these calculations, you'll see the formulas are pretty complicated. You can probably tell I'm an accountant. We used Wilks scores. So Wilks scores can kind of determine your level, and we split that between squat, bench, and deadlift. I won't go into the details, but we used those, and we used Sinclair for the power clean, but we modified it a bit because it's a power clean and not a full clean. And so on and so on. And the difficulty in making a program that fits many of you is that you're all at different levels. When you're a beginner, you want to do a lot more sets and reps to get the volume in and get the movement patterns down. And when you're advanced like me, you just cannot do as many sets. So for example, for me, my max squat is 3.5 times body weight, which is 260. And in the program, my heavy squat days, towards the end of the program, I would be doing 3 sets of 5 at almost 190. The last day, 3 sets of 5 at 195. And doing that for me is extremely, extremely difficult. I would just want to go home mid-session. And with the deadlifts and stuff as well, which I'll come to later, it would be very hard. Now, as a beginner, that would be very easy, okay, because you'd be lifting much less weight. So because I can only work off percentages in the app, we have tailored the program to someone that is at the upper end of intermediate. If that's not you, I would suggest doing the beginner programs first and just building up your base of strength and athleticism that way. If you still want to do this program because you like the look of the accessories in the program, then you can do. I would just suggest doing more sets. And this is something that came out in some of the reviews. I'm generally very happy with the reviews so far. Some of them, however, like this guy, says too little frequency. Other people seem to really like it, the athletic movements. But yeah, that's why. If you're expecting muscle gains and so on, it's not the program for you. But there's some reviews in here for people that do sports, like this guy doing ice hockey. He says it has great carry over to the sport he plays, which is exactly the type of person this program is aimed at. So I'm glad he enjoyed it. And then this guy here, it feels like the program could be 4 or 5 days. Well, it should be 4, but this is aimed at people that are already doing sport for those other days. But we've covered most of those points already. So let's dig into the program in a bit more detail. So something you should 100% be doing as you get more advanced is a top single on the heavy movements. So here we have a top single on bench, the next set training session a top single on squat, and the next training session a top single on deadlift. That just keeps your CNS primed, keeps you used to lifting heavy weights, and maintains the skill of doing so. After that, you'll need to get some volume in. So you'll notice there is some variation in volume here. So the bench press is only sets of 3 on this day. However, on the next day, it is sets of 8. In intermediate programs, you'll often see the same rep and set scheme or a linearly periodized program. So with this method, you're getting a day that's a bit more intense and heavy and a day that's a little bit lighter but gives you volume work. So if you look up daily undulating periodization, this is a bit like that. It's shown to be much more effective if you vary the volumes and intensities over the week instead of just doing the old-fashioned linear periodization methods. So day 1 is basically focused on upper body. We do our top single on bench, everybody's favorite day, and then we do some heavy triples on bench as well. After that, we hit some weighted dips. Over the weeks, you'll notice the reps and sets change. For example, on this weighted dip, you'll get heavier each week and do less reps. The bench will always stay at triples, but also get heavier each week. So after your bench press and dips, you'll hit the weighted chin-ups. You will then hit inchworms, which is where you extend out in a really long push-up position, walk your hands back in, and on the last rep, you hold a plank for as long as you can. And each week, your goal is to beat your time on the plank. So this is one of those things that's going to be good for your balance, coordination, core stability, all of that good athletic stuff. After that, you just burn yourself out with push-ups. Who doesn't love push-ups? So that's day 1. Day 2 is where we focus on our power output from the lower body. So you have squats and power cleans here. I prefer to do power cleans before squats, so you can do that. If you prefer to do squats first, go ahead. This will have a top single on squat. So for me, 207, and then it would be back downs, 195 for 3 sets of 3. That would be a pretty hard session for me. If you're a beginner, you're going to find this a bit easier if you're doing lighter weights. So you could definitely do 5 sets of 3 here instead. Once you've done that, you'll do bench press, and this may seem a little bit out of place here, but we need to bench press more than once a week, 2 times a week minimum. If you were to do 4 days here, you'd probably want to bench again for the 3rd day, because frequency helps bench press a lot. So because you did high intensity on this day, only 3 reps, you should recover fairly fast to do volume on this day. So you've trained day 1, you've had a rest day, and now it's day 2, you can get your volume in on bench. It's going to take longer to recover from that volume. So this is the best day to put it, because you're going to have 2 days rest before day 3. If you were to bench heavy volume here, you'd only have a day's rest and then have your heavy bench press here. You want to be primed and fresh for this heavy bench press day, especially for the top single. That's why it's placed here. After that, sticking with the theme of being explosive and fast, we have some box jumps, 3 sets of 10. If you can increase the box height a little bit each week, do so. Sometimes these are a bit hard to do at a commercial gym, but if you can, they're a real benefit. This is again where the coordination and athleticism comes into play, and the accessories are tailored towards that. And then weighted pistol squats. So this is, again, balance, coordination, all of that good stuff. And if you can't do them, you can hold onto a band hanging from something. I have a playlist with videos of how to tailor these exercises if you can't yet do them, and how to build up to doing them properly. You'll find that on the app. There's a link to a PDF that has links to YouTube videos, which also have the stretching routines for before and after the sessions to increase your flexibility as well. Again, a trait you should be seeking to improve. Then you will generally have 2 days rest. So for me, on these 2 days rest, that's where I go to a gymnastics session. If you do a sport, I'd suggest doing it in that gap as well. And then the final day, we have our heavy single on deadlift, preferably with a trap bar, back off sets of 5, and then we get our squat volume in. That's partly the reason we have 2 days rest for this session, because this is the 2nd time we're squatting, and it's back to back after the other session. And you need to recover from these heavy singles and triples on squat to be able to hit your volume and get the volume work in. So that's why it's placed there, and that's why you might think the percentage is a little bit low here, because again, it's about managing fatigue. You want to go into these sessions being able to hit reps fast, explosive, and with power. Then we have some shoulder raises. So this is just to keep your shoulders healthy, your rotator cuffs healthy, because we're doing a lot of chin-up work, tricep dip work, and bench press. Especially if you're doing the bench press close, you want to keep your shoulders healthy. So you'll notice the reps are a lot higher here, and this is mainly just for some blood flow into your shoulders. If you can get some rotator cuff work in as well, that's just going to help with injury prevention. Then we have a little bit of conditioning with some sled push and pulls, and get some blood flow to those legs. And then hanging leg raise, so we're finishing off with some core work. Idea here is to keep your body as stable as possible, improving your body control, fitting with the theme of all of this athletic stuff. So I won't go through all of it. Like I said, the reps and sets change each week. You'll see that the last week has a bit of a taper. What a taper is where you reduce the volume so that you recover very well to test a 1 rep max. Some people need a longer taper, especially if you're lifting a lot heavier and you've built up a lot of fatigue. Some people need a shorter one. So I've tried to do something that fits most people, ready to test your 1 rep maxes in this last week. And then there's a deload week here to keep you ticking over and recover before you start the cycle again if you want to do more than 1 round back to back. So yeah, that's it. If you want to try the program out or just have a look at it in a bit more detail, go to Boostcamp on your mobile. On the mobile version, you will find a link to a PDF, which is a full guide, and that PDF will link you to some YouTube videos to help you out. And if you read the write-ups, then you should understand the program pretty well. But of course, ask me any questions in the comments below and I'll respond. And if you want to try it out, good luck, and I hope you enjoy it.